Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Collegiate Call of Duty League playoffs. We're continuing on through the twilight hours here as we're trying to get through losers round 3. This matchup specific is going to be the University of Alabama going up against the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, the Volunteers on the Crimson Tide. This is a rematch from when they played earlier on this season, and I say that emphatically because it was earlier on this season. But in this matchup specifically proper, it was a tight one all the way through. And if I remember correctly, Alabama was actually forced to reverse sweep this matchup, and they did.
Yeah, and they absolutely did. You're not wrong. So now you have UTK. The Vols looking to get their due run back versus Alabama, and this is what you're going to be dealing with as far as rosters are concerned. Alabama, you can see Honcho, Nix, Rosu, Radiate, and Concise versus Stainless. Condog, Slim, C-Short, and Goosefava. UTK through this losers bracket run have been absolutely putting in work ever since getting absolutely destroyed by Penn State White in winners round 1.
Well, we'll take a look at Alabama here first as far as what they've been able to do in the playoffs so far. This is actually from the regular season. They went 14-3 in the regular season in total. And since they kind of played up against playoff teams, whether they were in the Southeast or in their run so far, they're 2-1. They dropped early to Lebanon Valley, and they had a really tight series versus Arkansas that went to 4. All the hard points are relatively close. And then against Grossmont, it was a tight first 3 maps, and then they would take the Gunrunner for map number 4. But in total, this squad, their best mode thus far has mostly been just in the respawn period. They've done well in hardpoint. They've done well in domination. One of the biggest weak points for the squad as a whole, though, has been their search and destroy. They've been a little bit all over the place. But again, against other playoff teams, either in the Southeast or so far in their playoff run, they're relatively even across the board, showing that they've been consistent, but they haven't really been blowing anybody out anywhere.
That is very much so the case, as you can go ahead and take a look at UT Knoxville and their stats and what they have to offer through the regular season. They went 11-6. One of those losses that we were talking about was a reverse sweep fashion versus Alabama. Coming in at seed number 21, not exactly the sexiest thing that you want to see heading in here if you are a fan of the Vols, but nevertheless, for this losers bracket run coming off of that hot loss and losing 3-0, they absolutely smoked their first match of RIT. They had a close S&D and a domination versus Grand Canyon to find themselves here in this losers match. And well, it's kind of the similarity that you have in between what you just said for Alabama comparatively for UT Knoxville. Yeah, they've been able to squeak by on a few search and destroys here and there, but when it comes down to anything else, you're going to be looking at the respawn game. Anywhere that Condog can set themselves up and find themselves the utmost value is what you're mostly going to be looking for. So that way they can then open up the floodgates for their subs to start finding the utmost value. You're looking at Stainless and Goosefava to be those players for Condog to be able to find their kills.
Yeah, 100%. Again, you're looking at a couple of individuals, I think, particularly. You mentioned Connor, but we didn't really get a lot of time to talk about Honcho from Alabama. He's that guy that I'm kind of looking at to lead the charge here. As we take a look back, just making sure we are understanding of where exactly we're playing this best-of-5 series here in the losers bracket. It'll be Gunrunner first, followed by a Piccadilly, which Tennessee are one of the only teams in the CCL in the playoffs to actually put some rehearsal time in the regular season playing Piccadilly. They're 3-0 there. But for Gunrunner specifically, this is Alabama's playground. They're 7-2 overall on this map. That's out of the 14 wins that they have, 7 of them are on Gunrunner. So again, showcase that this is definitely one of their favorite maps to be on. And in the playoffs specifically, every single one of the games they've played in the playoffs here in CCL has seen a Gunrunner for the hard point. For UTK, they can't necessarily say the same thing, but they did get some good rehearsal on this versus Grand Canyon previously, in which they took a 250 to 145 point lead. But again, I'm interested in this Piccadilly, this map number 2, when we get to it, simply due to the fact that Alabama has not played on that map a single time in the regular season. We just need to make sure we update our overlay here as you have the right teams there. There they are, beautifully done. And we will be dealing with UTK from the favored side, spawning closer to P2, and Slim finds first blood, opening things up for potentially an early contest here of the first hard point.
Hey, take a look at how Alabama are starting to work their way through the cargo containers already. Losing a few members, though, able to fend things off. It was a very bright idea for Alabama to just try to work their way towards these P2 spawns to flip it back in their name. Nix has to play their life, won't be able to get much value apart from that elimination onto Goosefava. But the fight over towards P1 was only about 7 seconds. Obviously, the UTK were able to find it in their name, but nevertheless, they're still looking to hold strong on towards this P2 area to where they can really start growing a lead earlier on. C-Short, Stainless are able to combine for 4 mid-map, though. You can see them not wanting to overextend that much further to give up the P2 area to Alabama.
Nice solid 5 kills for C-Short to start things off. He's 5-0. Slim also has not fallen. He's number 3 on your minimap. Pardon me, no, he was number 4 on your minimap. He's the one just kind of watching the OE side from AC. He's going to get some pressure over this direction. Condog able to make some interesting interactions happen right over the top of the cargo containers. And again, UTK doing a really nice job of, again, just pushing back University of Alabama. And the tide, well, it's not rolling yet, as they've only found 21 points, and they're having a tough time making their way even close to getting to this second hard point.
That's going to be a full 4-man push coming through the cargo containers, hoping to find themselves value. Honcho's going to get gunned down from behind and end up seeing that it was Guzfafa from behind closer to the water area. And it just means that it's going to be a little bit of a faltered push thus far. I say that, but combining for 4, now finding their feeding inside the munitions depot. This is a really well-executed hit to come on through, but it's answered back off the respawn by Condog, Goose, and Slim. Able to fend things off, contested for a little while, and you're going to be able to take that as a W if you're Alabama, because now you can find yourself on a rotation over towards P3.
Opening kills, though, don't really turn up too much in favor of UTK. Condog's actually going to see one player spawn right in front of him through these window shingles, and that's going to be enough for him to find a pick and actually put up a little bit of a pinch pressure. Alabama will essentially spawn right on top of the third hard point because that P2 was still active, but the first 3 make it 4 kills, turning up in favor of the Volunteers, as now they're on a very quick break, a 5-man wipe, and Connor still existing in the coal area. As long as he turns around and reads this play, he's going to be in a position to catch them all off guard. And the Crimson Tide, well, the only thing Crimson right now is what they're bleeding, because it's a 75-38, and C-Short and Condog for 3, Stainless a 4th. It's just Honcho by himself, and goodness, does he ever give himself a try, and the only thing that stops him is a teammate, unfortunately, from Radiate.
And UTK, prior to getting all of those series of kills, do such a wise decision. They push through the cargo containers in the half wall, so that way they can get the spawns in toward the warehouse. Forcing yourself to spawn on the west side of the map for these last few hard points is monumental, so that way you can start putting in numbers through the tree side over to the cargo containers, but most importantly is so that way you can hold on to the west spawns for that P5. If you can put together P2 and P5 stringing in a series of hard points, that is monumental to a team's success winning out on Gunrunner.
Concise, nice little double over the middle of the map. Again, just freeing up some space so Alabama can get some free time here on our 4th hardpoint early on. 15 seconds through the hill. Connor tries to make a play through bathrooms, but he didn't really have any supporting cast members to help him make that play. And so now Stainless is forced to engage by himself, and this is a slight mistake. A little bit of miscoordination here from UTK as they get cut down individually for a time, forcing to essentially group up right outside of green, and Nix isn't going to let that congregation happen as he finds himself 2. Stainless unfortunately catches himself with the Semtex. And just like that, Alabama are rolling all of a sudden. It was a slow start for them, but it's been about 60, 70 points in a row for UA. And now all of a sudden, Bama has actually put themselves in the backside of P5. No chance that C-Short realizes that. And this is not just going to be scrapped to the initial of P4, but that's 45, 50 seconds worth of the 4th hard point, which is going to turn into the initial time here on P5. Alabama in a prime position to retake the lead as Honcho finds 3.
Really well executed there from University of Alabama. They do a fantastic job of just pushing themselves after finding a serious amount of kills, recognizing the opportunity that was right in front of them. Like you called, pushing themselves in towards the warehouse. C-Short had no idea, and now they have a stronghold of a setup here inside the warehouse. This is their castle. Good luck trying to get in. Well, what a wonderful, well-played shot. Stainless for 2, and Khan's right there to help out for 4. And C-Short able to find 1 kill more. It means that this is an open season to put themselves on towards P5 and get the scrap time, and it is much needed for UTK. You don't want Alabama getting way too comfortable. Connor at the front door is able to find 2 before getting cut down. But even more so, UTK finding that break into P5 is still monumental. Now they can look for the second set of hard points and those P2 spawns early on.
Yeah, again, it was a really nice play from Goose. He kind of stretches himself through the wood side, actually pulls the spawns with him, but this is a dead even game. 121, 122. Keep your eye on the minimap for number 8. It's Honcho in the back. He's not going to have any interactions for a while, but he's actually going to pull one of the spawns. Jay Radiate will spawn with him, so will Rosu and UTK. Oh, they're going to be blindsided by this play. Here comes the push through. It's essentially a pinch in the train yard, and with that, it's just C-Short left alive, and he cannot take down the 3 Bama members that were there. So yes, UTK, they'll find some time on the first hard point, but they lose not only the final 15 to 20 seconds worth of time on P5 because they favored the rotation to the second hard points, but they've also lost the spawns for P2. So now it feels like you're forced to sign a lot of time on this first hard point, of which they've actually done a pretty good job. They've already found about 25 seconds worth of time in the center platform, and that's only going to change now because Alabama are realizing, hey, we got to get them off the hill.
Yeah, you don't want that much time to be going over P1 for UTK. Doing a fantastic job through that first set of hard points, more or less. Alabama are starting to pull themselves back ever since P4 in the first set of hard points. Like you said, Honcho going absolutely huge for themselves, being able to pull the spawns for P2. Now trying to work their way across the train yard. UTK are looking to find themselves the break. They have a really good split, but the spawns are still in the favor for Alabama. You got to be able to string together a few more kills before you can start getting your feet on towards the munitions depot. It's just 2 players left. Through the one side is Goose, but Slim can't do it all by themselves. Radiate, Concise, and Rosu meet them at the gates, and they absolutely push them back. 28 seconds left here on P2, and they're going to get one last good hit at this, of which it will not find value. UTK now have to rotate to P3.
They're going to throw one more member that direction just to see if they can keep the pressure onto Alabama, but everything was dealt with pretty swiftly. So now there's going to be Honcho moving through woods, but the main force of the Crimson Tide is going to come to the coal yard, and it didn't go well the last time, if you remember back. So far, it's not going well either, as Connor and Goose will find 3. The only player sneaking behind is going to be Honcho, and again, the whole idea here for Alabama is catch UTK off guard by essentially a long, very desperate, rather, I should say, pinch. And Honcho's going to make the play. He's looking to pinch things up on the hill, but doesn't have any teammates truly here with him. But it doesn't make a difference as Honcho finds one. The rest of his teammates cutting to the middle of the map will actually find a handful more. And with a 5-man wipe, not only do Bama break the hill, but they've got themselves where they want in the P5-sided spawns.
Now, Honcho always coming from the backside of UTK, never where they truly expected, and then the team soon floods in after, just time and time again. Connor's able to find one after taking down C-Short, their teammate, but now they find themselves a little bit of a wipe themselves. UTK put themselves on towards P3, and that means that they can at least try to push on forward into the warehouse, maybe try to get these west side spawns, but unable to do so. Alabama are still spawning in on the backside of the warehouse, and that is good for them. Even looking at P4 just means that they can get boiler room control, mid-map pressure, so that way they can keep UTK pushed back even more so that way they may not win off of P4 here, Shift, but they can definitely win off of P5, even if they can test P4 just for a moment's time.
Connor did a nice job of existing over by the generator, and now you look at number 5 as C-Short. He's trying to do the same thing from the boiler, but he's going to be pinched up, and that's going to be enough for Alabama to have an open avenue to try to get into this 4th hard point, and with Rosu finding 2 kills, they'll do just that. Cannot win it here, but the Crimson Tide they'll be darn close, that's for sure, as UTK will not only have to push through this hard point, but find a way to get to the P5-sided spawns. And you can see Alabama, they're essentially saying, take the 3v5s. We'll keep Concise all the way back by the coal kites, and we'll have everyone else who spawns up just watch the middle of the map. We don't care if we lose these 20 seconds necessarily, as long as we can contest it. And, well, it's good meets better for the side of Alabama, as not only are they contesting the 4th hard point for a significant amount of time, but they were able to generate a pretty sequential amount of numbers towards the score. So now as 5 seconds will fade away, UTK will give this up in favor of a 5-man rotation towards the warehouse, of which they'll have to break relatively quickly. It's 235 to 188, and once again, Alabama goes to work right in front of the hill.
And absolutely setting up a fortress yet again on P5 for the second time over. Just needing 7 more seconds. Goose and C-Short show up on the point with Stainless to combine for 3, but is it enough? Some might argue that it's definitely not, but Slim's right there to make the difference to get Honcho off the point. Still contested though, there's still 2 players over here for Alabama. C-Short and Goose are right there to meet them. Rosu finds themselves 2, lining themselves up, but Slim comes in through the side, keeping things contested for a moment's time. 4 seconds needed for Alabama to close out this map, but UTK are still flooding in the numbers, and they are unable to at least find themselves the last 4 seconds, Alabama, but they are already looking towards P1 in that 3rd set of hard points. The University of Tennessee Knoxville, the Vols, they got to play this flawlessly going on forward. You cannot let Alabama exist on this P1 side because they will close it out there.
There are volunteer members everywhere on the map right now. It just comes down to they need to win their individual 1v1. Seashore, he's going to go big for 3, still alive on top of the hill, and he gets some help from Stainless in the nick of time. 248 is where it'll stop. Alabama will then put themselves on the hill, and before it can be fully contested, they will get gifted the final point needed. 250-209, and a real good one here on Gunrunner, but Bama kicked things off with a 1-map advantage.
Honcho went absolutely massive through 2 different sides of the map, both east and west. Through the second set of hills, breaking into P2 almost single-handedly, damn near actually, did a fantastic job. You take a look, there's no real surprise to see who's leading the kills there for UTK. It's going to be Connor at 34 and 25, but for the other side of University of Alabama, they did a fantastic job of just being consistent across the board, concise, finding themselves a minute 28 worth of hill time. Can definitely suffice to their 16 and 23 KD ratio, but Nyx, Honcho, and Rosu, along with J-Radiate, able to piece together a multitude of streaks along the way. They did an absolute fantastic job of holding down for P2 all the way to P5. And it's like I said through the first set of Hill Shift, if you can string together strong holds from 2 to 5, I mean, for a hard point on Gunrunner, that'll definitely win you that map.
100% it will. And again, Bama's been playing on this map all throughout their playoffs so far, and they've looked good all throughout their playoffs, with the only exception being at the hands of Lebanon Valley, who I think just caught them by surprise. But now we go to Piccadilly. That's going to be the next one up for the search and destroy here. And this is where things get a little bit more dire, I would say, for Alabama, simply down to the fact that their search and destroy has just been okay throughout the playoffs so far. But for UTK, they're 3-0 on this map specifically. So that's kind of where things get a little bit more dire and a little bit more tight, as they've got some extra experience, I guess you'll call it, here on this particular search and destroy. Last they played Alabama, the search that we saw was on Ramaza and Petro. So when it comes down to what we have coming forward, we will actually see no repeats in the search and destroy specifically. In case you're wondering, the last time they played, it was a Hackney Yard domination. So we will get that run back. That time through, though, Alabama smoked UTK, but that was back when we still had a very quick reflip of the flag and 6-minute halves. So that was a long time ago. And then Hackney Yard will be our map number 4, and that will also be a run back from the first time they played. And again, in case you're wondering, I'm sure if we get to map 4, we'll say it again, but it was a 250-241, but it tilted in favor of Tennessee. I believe that was map 1 last time those two teams played. So a lot coming forward, but immediately for the search and destroy in Piccadilly, if you're Tennessee, you got to start off hot here. You need to make sure you're getting the first couple of rounds in your back wagon, and you can essentially set the tone and the pace early, because if you fall short here early on in your search and destroy pick, things could get bad quick.
I think you're looking for players like Goose to be able to really find value here with their scope. If you can't find those first couple picks for Goose, then you got to end up putting it away sooner rather than later. If you're being outgunned by ARs or even a counter scope coming out from the side of Alabama, well, things can get a little hairy earlier on, because in my opinion, coming into Piccadilly, that's kind of the win condition. You can end up winning things out as far as just sprinting mid-map and trying to find yourself the opening picks by meeting gun barrel to gun barrel against Alabama. It may not go in your favor as fast as you may think there, Tennessee. But at the same point in time, it kind of goes both ways. We don't really know. We have no information, like Shift was saying, to how Alabama play on Piccadilly. So again, as Tennessee is their map pick, maybe they have a few tricks up their sleeve to where they can pull out and squeak out a few round victories. Either that's the rush onto the 10 side bomb site, or playing off of the pick potential that Goose can end up finding on offense or defense, library or scaffolding included.
100% the case, and we're about ready to load in, so we'll find out exactly how these first couple of rounds come to be as the countdown is going on behind us. Again, still going on the Bravo stream is Rutgers playing up against UT Dallas. Just a minute ago, reported was the third map at a 158-138 domination in favor of UT Dallas, so they're currently up 2-1 in that series. But now we jump into, again, the Piccadilly search. It'll be Alabama forced to go on the offense initially. It looks like they wanted to completely smoke out A and make actually not just a bomb push to A, but they're going to send a couple members through those smokes. And all of a sudden, you got Nyx and Honcho who are in the back line of UTK. Nyx gets taken down. Honcho needs to find a kill. He won't either.
What?
On him with the pistol, and that's a hell of a recovery for UTK, responding quickly.
With the Eagle, nevertheless, Goose just pulls it out like he's in the gulag. We're out here in Piccadilly. Rosu and Radiator are at least right there for the trades, but Concise has to somehow work this bomb. Got to somehow either smoke this out or find this pick on the Stainless on the top side of Shoe Store. They're going to be able to keep their life for the time being. Going to be a 2v2 for Stainless and Goose. Now just Stainless on the top side of Shu. Tries to train the shots, but were already trained from the buses. And Alabama, even when the number deficit was against them, actually take this first offensive round win.
And I'll tell you, I thought that offensive round was going to come successful for a different reason, but you'll take whatever you get.
Yeah, I guess.
After you lose your first two members like that. So battling up against a 3v5 situation, Alabama able to kind of recontrol themselves. And again, it's one thing, you know, to try to make that play initially, but the good news for Alabama was you had a kind of a fallback plan where you still had pressure on the A site. And that doesn't occur if you don't initially get a push through of that kind of statue fountain area that's kind of right outside the A bomb site. So now we look at UTK and their first offer on the attack. I mean, mostly a lean towards B, but again, Alabama is playing very aggressive. They're already pushed up in front of the A site defensively. They've got Goose essentially stuck in a 1v3 scenario unless he gets some help from above, but he doesn't maybe not need it. Excuse me, he finds one kill with the sniper and is still holding this angle pretty nicely.
Yeah, and then there's picks to come across the way on the arches. It was a 2-3 split. I'm sure you saw with the white arrows on the mini-map, and it is going in the favor for UTK. Bomb has been dropped inside the arches. Got to somehow work your way over here. It looks like that is actually going to be Goose that's going to be tasked with picking up the bomb and then going for the plant. This has given Alabama a lot of time to work the rotation. You got to be careful for Nyx. They're rotating through the backside of arches. It's actually Rosu that finds Condog right over top of the bomb site. Nyx is right there completing the flank to take down Goose. And this is going to be really scary. Slim, the last player alive, might just be searching in their pockets for that bus ticket to get the heck out of Dodge. But you got to be able to find these last two kills. Gets the spray and pray there onto Rosu. And now with 15 seconds left, cat and mouse game is about to come on through. Slim understands that, probably won't be able to get the bomb plant that they're looking for. This tactical is going to find so much value, and now they get the corner turn, and that is going to be the round. Well played out for UTK there in the final moments.
Yeah, it's a beautiful job. I think the information obviously was there, but the stun makes it a little bit easier. Nick's never able to even get a bullet off by the looks of it. Slim able to get a handful more off after the gunfight was already won. So we'll go 1-1, both offenses finding success. For different reasons so far, though, I'll say that much. So kind of keep your eye on that tempo. Keep your eye on that pace. Will we see these sniper rifles come into play? Traditionally speaking, Piccadilly is heavily dictated by what happens with the scope, but so far it's just been Radiate who's having a field day at 6-1 through 2 rounds, mind you. Yeah. Again, a lot of that damage being done in that first round where he had to find a handful of kills, but now again, it's Alabama looking aggressive right over towards the library, as if trying to rush to get that book back into the store before they get hit with late charges, but C-Short says we're closed and finds 2 kills easily. And now UA is all of a sudden in a 3v5 again for their second attack in a row.
C-Short, the librarian, not allowing them in there, but Radiate is trying to work their way across this arches in the tents just to try to find more value. Tags up Goose just a little bit, is going to hold the angle to see if they peek yet again. Numbers advantage here for UTK, just by 1. But Alabama, they're going to start working towards this bomb site of B. 2 players are still existing over at A, but Connor pokes back up over top of the fence and finds J Radiate. It's a big numbers advantage now for UTK as they try to push on forward. Concise is able to put together 2, making this an even number of a 2v2. It's Rosu and Concise versus Stainless and Goose. Concise still with the bomb, has to get the plant, and Rosu's able to find Stainless on the flank. This is starting to look dire now. Slim has to piece together these 2 kills. We'll see the bomb get planted, tries to connect with the shots, gives up their position, is going to throw the semi, but it's going to get caught with a couple of bullets to the chest, and Alabama take that round.
That's literally the second 3v5 in a row that we've seen from the attack from Bama, and Slim has a flash available, and he's got a Semtex. If you know he's there, cock it back, pull it. Just like you would ski shoot. Pull, let's get it there. Get it on top of that police car. It's an easy kill, but doesn't commit to the play, and again, Alabama's just taking advantage. It's one of those things that it really does feel like on Alabama's attacks, and even so far on their defenses, they're sitting there and saying, we're going to set the tone early here. We want to get right in UTK's face. All 3 times it has not worked, but at least Alabama knows how to play afterwards, and now Slim's going to give this a go as he hits a dead silence push right through the buses. If we can get Slim's point of view, number 9 on your minimap, he's found his way behind 1, looking for a second. Radiate will put him down, and goodness did he need to. 8-2 is J Radiate. Ooh, I'll tell you what, man, he's absolutely keeping Alabama, and maybe the only reason why Alabama's even ahead, let alone in this game right now.
Yeah, definitely pulling the weight of Honcho as yet to find a single kill in this S&D. Monumental beyond belief. The other side for UTK, with Stainless holding on to the bomb. They're kind of hesitant on pushing on forward, though. It's going to be 3 members down and 2 for UTK. Jay Radiate's going to be right there to take down Connor. That's a lot of firepower out of the way. But with Jay Radiate still alive and the lone survivor here for Alabama, you cannot count them out. They're able to find Goose. Good shots there on the archers, but they're getting tagged up. There's an enemy at the buses for UTK, but they are able to still put Stainless closer to the bomb site and somehow get the plant here, you would assume. But Jay Radiate, they're pretty aware. They popped that silence. They push it forward.
He looks to his left. He's going to find the first kill. Radiate almost has the chance for the second. My God, if he wins that round, I absolutely lose my top. And I don't normally read chat when I'm looking at the when I'm on the cast, but I looked over for a second and saw a familiar name. Got to give big shout outs and a hashtag Go Tigers to Low Tech. Incredible Rocket League player from Louisiana State. Giving some love here to our SEC teams that are duking it out. Big shout outs to you for stopping through. And now we go forward a little bit further out here. And again, these rounds, I'm not going to lie to you, Proper, they seem to have almost gone the way you would not figure. And most of it, again, coming on the way of Radiate just continuing to play incredible. This is a special performance. We're 4 rounds in, and he's already got 11 kills. He's on pace, if this goes round 11, to easily break through 20.
I can't ever end up saying. I mean, you end up seeing Search and Destroy where you find first pick and you get the numbers advantage. That should be a clear-cut victory for the team that finds that first blood, but you can't count Alabama out. UTK have been able to stumble through multitude of rounds now to where they have the numbers advantage, and then they end up losing the round. Hancho and Concise are going to be right there to shut things down, but it's just Concise now, who ends up taking down Short. And it's going to have to essentially be a 1v4 in Concise, who has the bomb, and Dead Silence Pop is going to work their magic through the library and maybe catch a player on rotation. They have 42 seconds to play with. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but it's going to be really tough. Got to get this timing down perfect. You just got to hope that Slim or Stainless give themselves up. Here comes a big stun. That's a lot of information. Can he get the turnaround? He does on the Slim, but that's their position given up. You can see the arrow of Stainless is well trained on the exit through library, but he wins that? Concise wins that?
Oh,
excuse me?
God,
look at these shots.
Melted. This is absolutely next level play. It's going to look easier in the slow motion replay, but what a play from Concise. Are you joking? And how about this? I almost said at one point in time in the middle of your commentary, Proper, how appropriate would it be if Concise wins another offensive round for Alabama down numbers?
Very.
Well, they do it again. My goodness, this has been one heck of a Piccadilly, and maybe not
7-2.
You would expect. Exactly. He's 7-2 and Radiate's 11-4. I mean, this is a 2v5 right now, and that's literally the case. It's been a 2v5 the entire way through.
UTK, at least they find 2. Nix gets traded out, though. Even numbers, 2 down on both sides. Stainless still holding on to the bomb. Looks like that they want to try to commit to the A push, but Jay Radiate, enemy at the buses indeed. Connor's going to be right there to shut them down. Get some really well-trained shots on a Rosu top shoe store. Now in a 1v1 versus Nix. Gonna pick up the bomb, play their life here momentarily. They got that silence to play with if need be. And you can take a look at where Nix is located at, all the way on the opposing side. Connor gets the information, gets the opening shot. Now Nix is gonna pull themselves back, push themselves in the library. This is gonna be well scattered out. If Connor ended up full committing, but the bait and switch comes through, he's gonna get the plant onto A, and now the ball is in the court for Connor to be able to close out this round for Knoxville, to be able to even things up 3v3.
And this would be a technical 1v3 timing. Not good. Nix just trusts his aim and comes around the corner in a blaze and a fury. And I imagine he'll let this Dead Silence fade away and try to charge a little bit more. But he says, I'll just go ahead and defuse, guys. Don't worry about it. Big round again, though. It's been tight on numbers for really every single offense thus far. But Alabama eventually get on the defensive train. And now if they can find a way to just take a much more clinical offensive round, they could be up 5-2 very quickly. But again, it just seems like so far Alabama's whole strategy on offense has been, let's get somebody through their defensive line if we possibly can. And it has not really worked out for them yet. So will they be able to find a way to do that here, or will they kind of pull back the reins a little bit, slow things down, make sure we're playing as a full 5-man squad? The smokes seem to suggest otherwise, as here comes the bomb running forward. Hancho drops. But no, pardon me, actually Hanzo drops 2. But to say he trades for 1, but gets a second kill. And now again, Hancho exists in the back line, and UTK have no idea what to do at this point. You can see they're actually just saying, let them have the back. We'll push forward and kind of flank the flank and just trade sides with Alabama, and that's going to lead to a 2v3 situation. Alabama's got a free planet B.
And next, we'll pick up the bomb, then work their way back to planet. Semtex comes in, finds information. Not really able to follow up on that. I say that, but Stainless is actually able to be right there to clean up J-Radiate. So a lot of firepower out of the way, all things considered. They're 13-6. Honcho and Nyx going to be looking to close out this 2v2. 29 seconds to play with for UTK to get the kills and the defuse. Both players in the library, just playing their angles. Honcho peeping around the corner over by the tents. Footsteps are rather loud. Slim finds the hip fire of the sentry to take down Honcho, and now Nyx inside the library is just going to wait for the moment to come around. They saw the backpack in the rear end. At least one player coming on through. Finds Stainless, who was trying to defuse the bomb, but they are actually able to complete the defuse. Just not enough time right there for the peak to come on through. Much needed round win right there for University of Tennessee Knoxville.
Staying alive in this series, and this map specifically.
Yeah.
Been a good one so far, though. And again, just so strange to see Piccadilly played without any sniper rifles coming to the table at all.
I mean, it's like I said, if Goose isn't finding the utmost value with the scope, and you haven't seen a counter snipe come out the entire time for Alabama, there's really no point to try to force it from there on out.
Yeah. Well, so far the ARs have been reigning the day. Slim at 10-5, Radiate at 13-6. Concise, the SMG's found a lot of success as well as he takes down First Blood middle of the buses. C-Short now has to worry about this. You see he's doing that accordingly. A couple shots come through, but Radiate takes the off-angle peek and takes down C-Short without issue. But how many times have we seen a 3v5 go in favor of the less numbered team and on offense nonetheless? So it's going to have to be one of those rounds here for UTK in the making, as again, they're looking to put some pressure on over to A, but so far, there's really not an avenue or an entrance whatsoever. Honcho takes down one. Shots aren't good enough for Goose as Radiate finds his 15th kill in the game. Nyx finds the last from behind, and that'll be enough for a 5-3 round count favoring Alabama. Again, the team that we did not see play this map a single time in the regular season, nor here in these playoffs. They're finding a way to take down what I imagine was Tennessee's pick, at least so far. It's going to have to be 3 rounds in a row for the Vols if they want to come back into this one.
To answer your question at the beginning of that round shift, the Vols have 6 First Bloods, where Alabama only have 2. Would you go ahead and gauge on how that feels, ladies and gentlemen? Where the numbers advantage does not mean anything against Alabama, not when you have J-Radiate dropping 15 kills heading into round number 9. On offense, Concise does have the bomb. It looks like it's going to be a full committal through the arches and towards the bomb site. First blood from Rosu by way of MP5. C-Short trades out Nyx. Goose is right there to take down Rosu after Honcho takes down C-Short. Numbers advantage by 1 for Alabama to close out the map here and to put themselves up 2-0. We will be heading into Domination Hacking Yard after this, but it concludes here. J-Radiate's going to be able to take down Stainless and just Slim here for a 1v3. They're at 10-6. What can you do here, Slim? You already threw out your tactical. You still have a lethal. Dead Silence is not completed, not quite yet. It's really hard to commit to this for the time being. The angles are being held down. You saw that all of the Alabama members were hunting them like wolves. Unable to find the value through the arches, Alabama will close things out 6-3.
It's one of those things that if Alabama's going to continue to do that kind of strategy where they're essentially just hard committing and pushing through you like that on offense, you have to read that faster first if you're the UTK Knoxville. But beyond that, the players that are playing at A have to know where exactly their angles are from across the map to help out on the B side, whether it's because of their nade spam that they want to be throwing out or if they've got ARs where you can watch from a long distance, and that really wasn't there. J-Radiate, 17 total kills throughout this one. He goes 17-6 in total. Slim did what he could at 10-7, but yeah, yeesh indeed, as Bama will not only roll through map number 2, but now they're currently up 2 maps to 0 in this best of 5 elimination match in losers round 3. This is a place for top 12. Well, it's not looking good right now for UTK. And, well, I'm also apparently not looking good right now either, as I had to switch things up.
I think you look fantastic.
Thank you.
I don't know, like the gray works really well for you. Not gonna lie.
Is that a gray or like a slatish blue? I think it looks.
I went for gray because for me, you know how my eyes operate. Not the best with seeing colors, friend. Pointing it out.
This is great.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason why I wear a lot of white and black, and I'm sure you're probably recognizing that at this point out now as well. So, I mean, yeah. Looking fantastic there, bud, with that quarantine haircut. I gotta say, I'm pretty jealous.
It's real rough. I'm not gonna lie.
You think your hair's rough? My hair needs maintenance, man. It needs maintenance, and it's falling apart. It's falling apart.
It's short. This is real short. But regardless, speaking of things that could be short, the series could be short for UTK. As here we go. Now we talk about the domination on Hackney Yard, and we framed it up before the Search and Destroy. You like that? I know you did. But the last time we saw this played, it was back when there were still 6-minute halves, and it was back before the flag change had happened. And Alabama, this is where the reverse sweep started, as they went up 241 to 175. Those numbers we're not going to see again, ever, period. Doesn't matter who you are. You're not going to find a combination of nearly 500 points in a domination anymore. But regardless, the differential is a stark one. And for UTK, the worst news here is the fact that Alabama, again, has played a lot of Hackney out of their domination. It's by far their preference. They're 7-3 in Hull. But that said, Tennessee, just as well, are right in the mix. They've played this map 10 total times to a total score of 6-4. But in and against playoff teams, they're just a mere 2-3 total. So things looking a little bit rough for what's going on with the Vols. But if they want to try to repeat what Alabama did to them at the beginning of the year and find a reverse sweep, it's going to have to be here on the Hackney Yard Dom. Getting a couple of updates across what's happening on other matches. Currently, Carleton and Oregon. I don't know if that match has started yet. It says it has, but I haven't seen a recorded score for map 1. But on the Bravo stream currently, UT Dallas and Rutgers, after Dallas was up 2-1, as we last reported on the domination, the University of Rutgers, or Rutgers University, the Scarlet Knights, dominate them in map number 4, 250-139. So they are headed to a map 5, of which, if I'm not mistaken, that's the third map 5 that UT Dallas has played just in these playoffs. Just kidding. They played one against Mississippi State, but not against any other teams. But they've played a lot of map 5s in the regular season, which is why I was thinking that way. And again, it just seems strange that Rutgers is making this long run through the losers bracket in the first place because they lost their opening match, or not their opening match. Well, yeah, they lost their opening match versus ULL. And there could be cards of that potentially being, their demise. You would have thought at one point in time, as they had a couple of tight series versus not only Maryland, but also Arizona State played them close. And now against UT Dallas, they could potentially see themselves out of the playoffs as a top 16 team if they can't find a way to clutch up in map number 5.
I think it's just crazy to see one of these teams are going home at this point in time, too.
Yeah.
I did not expect that Illini Orange versus UT Dallas squad to go out the way that it did. It must have felt like a map 5 for the UT Dallas squad going out in a 3-0 fashion like that, too. They got absolutely worked in that outside of the round 11. And, well, the domination was close, too. But, I mean, all the way until the bitter end. Just very unfortunate to see that one of these two teams are going to end up going home. But, it's just the life of a double elimination bracket. Teams will go home. Teams will make it to the winner's side, and that's going to be the case nevertheless, too. And going back to this match that we're talking about heading into the domination, Hackney Yard, this is what's going to be really tough, especially going up against Alabama for University of Tennessee Knoxville, is SMG presence. Where's it at, Shift? Where's it at? It's not really there. I mean, we've seen that they've been able to flex Condog onto the SMG at certain points in time. You're going to need a little bit more than that, too, versus the SMGs you're going to be getting out from Alabama. You're looking at a star-studded Alabama squad that want to be able to push this through all the way as far as they can go into the losers bracket. I mean, you're looking at Rosu, also looking at Hancho, with the brilliant plays that they were able to showcase in the hardpoint Gunrunner, are definitely going to be able to show some bright spots here in the Hackney Yard Dom.
Dangerous moment here for UTK. One of their opening members tried to hit the OE and got met by 4 Bama players, and they did not fully rotate back to guard the A flag. So now Concise and Hancho are in not just a 2v2, but they're going to get some reinforcements, although I say that and they get all cut down and cut to pieces. Ooh, it was tight there for a second, though. A pretty late response from the Volunteers out of UTK to deal with that OE hit, but again, that is one of the highest risk plays you're going to see in domination from the unfavored side of a map, sending 4 members through the office side. If it does not work out for you, you don't put the spawns, that's a lot of time given for free where UTK have been allowed to sit on 2 flags, and automatically and off the rip, it's a 20 to 10 point lead for the Vols.
One player actually goes down that slim over top of the tire shop, so this is actually an open opportunity now for J Radiant to start working their way in here. But wisely, and the decision is made that UTK start putting their second line of defense towards the A flag. That's going to be Slim that comes back in there and at least keeps the A flag for the time being. But neutralization is working. Look out for Stainless on the C flag. They're actually trying to go for a full capture here if they're able to get this kill, and they do. On to J Radiate. This is all while you have members working the B flag as well. This is starting to look like a full domination soon to follow. Mid-map kills are being found for the Vols. And now, well, just a little bit more time needed for that B flag to be captured, but it wasn't there.
Good start here for UTK. Really good start in this first half. Goose gets figured out right on the edge of the smoke before that can embellish throughout the warehouse. Concise will finally take his home flag while the rest of his teammates are able to finally flip over to the B flag. This is the first time that we've seen so far in the opening 2 minutes where Alabama has had 2 flags. The next step, though, can they work their way from left to right on the minimap and get over to this A flag? 100% the preferred flag setup as you're just so much closer between A and B. That'll do well. Honcho on 4 straight will eventually be dealt with. But the pressure, it is appreciated, and UTK are actually going to spawn office here, which might actually lend to a potential play for a C neutral because you still have 2 members that are anchoring the backside of A, but no one can make the streak across the smokestack. And for now, everything will stay calm and stay quiet as UA will be sitting still on the CB hold.
They're going to have to. They're going to need a few more kills right outside of the warehouse before they convincingly can push towards the A flag. Let's not forget that the Vols have also started on the A flag, and they have not given up their home flag here on the A side. But this lead is starting to diminish. It's only by 6 right now off this double flag hold. Cutting mid-map is good, though wise decision from UTK. I almost wanted all the rest of the members to start flooding themselves in to go help out with the A flag. You still have Slim over here. They're actually able to take down J Radiate to keep the A flag in their name. And now this push from C Short over to the C flag is making more sense. AC hold for the time being, splitting the lines of defense now for UA. So now how do you combat it against this Knoxville, Tennessee? You got to end up splitting your numbers. You can end up trapping Alabama inside the warehouse potentially here, but you got to make sure that the A flag stays in your name. They're unable to get the defense there as the kill feed starts to glow closer to white for Alabama's favor, and now it's an AB hold for themselves at the University of Alabama as they look to hold AB.
Been a really tough second quarter so far for University of Tennessee at Knoxville. Not ever really fully re-clearing the B warehouse. And now they've lost the A side spawns, and well, there will be a lead swap, not here, but in the next 5 seconds. You've tied up 61-61. Tennessee not really understanding where exactly they want to go. A couple members are trying to go for an OE. A couple members are trying to win gunfights in warehouse. Most of them are mostly individual, and that's got to change and change very quickly here if you're Tennessee, because honestly speaking, again, for Alabama, who did not spawn on the favored side in the first half, that will change in the second. If they can come away of this first half with a lead, oh man, you're sitting pretty, you're feeling good, you're feeling comfortable, and of course that extra confidence will definitely be there in tow. Slim will watch a player run right by him, which Honcho's able to respond nicely to that reactionary play, and well, we're down to 30 seconds, and again, the last 2.5 minutes has been 2 flags for Alabama. Candidly speaking, it was CB initially. For the last minute and a half, it's been mostly just an AB hold with not much threat at all from Knoxville.
This is all the more scary. Again, cannot forget, Volunteers also started on the A flag. They were unable to hold it through the second quarter. They also lost the lead, and now they're going to be starting on the C flag in the second half. This is really scary coming on through. So how do you end up trying to tackle this going in towards the second half? You have 2 different decisions. You saw how it didn't work out for Alabama off the rip for the first half, where they tried to force the OE, and they failed to some very fortunate timing in UTK's favor. But at the same time, you can also go the little bit of the stronger, more successful, I would definitely say, route and just try to flood in toward the warehouse and being able to win that one out. It's going to be interesting to see how Alabama look to set themselves up on the A flag here early on.
This little update here while we're in the halftime. UT Dallas at that map 5, as they typically seem to find themselves. Map 5 is almost always gun runner for them. They're currently up 3-0. So that's an update as far as that one coming through for you guys. 89-75 here in this one, though, for Alabama. Like we mentioned, they are spawning from the A side initially, but Tennessee, they will not be trying to give up this B flag for free, although Honcho will win the last 1v1. Actually, he gets assistance from J Radiate, who actually wins the gunfight. And so the B flag will be captured and secured for the Crimson Tide. Volunteers looking to kind of push their way aggressively and forcefully into this B warehouse, and they will find some numbers. If they need to find the kill on Rosu, they'll do just that. So there should be a neutral and a potential flip of B here early. Not bad again for UTK, but there still has a lot of work to be done. You need to push through this. There's 4 players down. Go, go, go should be the call. And here it comes. 2 members making their way across. They're going to look for a triple cap. I think Stainless has actually read that they're spawning at the office. He's kind of still floating in the middle of the map. There's an A secure coming through. Yes, the C flag has been flipped, but for Tennessee, they took advantage of an opportunity for a small time, but again, not everyone committed to it. And with that, Alabama will immediately reflip over the A spawn, at least the A flag for now, back in their favor.
A little bit of hesitation of what Stainless wanted to do with their life could have actually helped their teammates out over by the useless building, or like you said, try to fight for the C flag back in the name for UTK, splitting their numbers a little bit too thin on all fronts of this Hackney Yard domination. Will come back to bite you in the rear. How UTK, with multiple kills yet again, find themselves on the A flag. They get the flip. Now they look to commit to assault this warehouse. They have a decent amount of numbers advantage with 3 down now for Alabama as they look to neutralize B, start to work the capture. Tacticals come in from Alabama by way of top and bottom L. They're looking to flood on in. The capture comes through for the time being, but the kills soon to follow. One teammate goes down by way of Concise's own Sentex rather, and it's going to be Alabama. They were working this B flag ever so wonderfully. It is stopped though. Connor's going to be right there to find 2.
Yeah, but Connor, again, he was by himself. He goes to try to capture the B flag without having control of the warehouse, and also he actually falls. That actually slows down UTK considerably, considering that we're about to jump into the 4th quarter. 2 minutes and 40 seconds to play at the margin. Oh, right around 20 points here in favor of Alabama. And as you're seeing UTK spawn all over the office, they're going to have to cut back over to A and then make their move over to the warehouse before they could even start considering digging into this deficit. But again, they have to do this soon. Stainless, he's going to see an opportunity as his teammates get a couple of kills in front of B to maybe go for a neutral at C. You see that on your minimap, he's number 1. But all the action that's important is right here in the middle of the warehouse. That's going to be Condog for a big pick. C flag will be neutralized, and Stainless will back up just to play his life. It's all about winning over the B warehouse right now. Those approach the 2-minute mark. The B flag will be neutralized. Stainless loses his life at C, and Alabama will actually have some numbers here. It's going to come down to this last 1v2 for Slim. He's not able to win it, and now Alabama all of a sudden have put some pressure onto UTK as they're going to spawn back out towards C.
1 minute and 45 left in this map. Wise decision there. Yeah, you're going to have to capture the C flag because you have to send the rest of your numbers to try to capture the A. Maybe you could have just left it neutral and then flood in the numbers for the warehouse side. And now this is going to be an interesting turn of events for UTK. They have the AC hold, yes, but you still have to work your magic there to get the warehouse control, neutralize it, capture it. You gotta need this back in your name too, because C flag is being lost, and Alabama's gonna get that control back, and they're able to work the A flag. It gets neutralized, and Rosu, wise decision, works their way up towards to the top side of the tire shop, and just absolutely trying to bamboozle the 2 players that they have in front of them. Connor's gonna take him down.
This is a big trust moment for UTK. They essentially trust that the players in the back will deal with the nuisance of Rosu, and they do just that. 4 players down. Opportunity maybe for Stainless to jump out window and make a play for a C neutral. They will need it. It's 131 to 153, a margin which will be too steep to hold with just 1 flag. They're going to need a moment of triple capture in here, so everyone's got to have a pop-off moment. Gutzfava, you've got to leave the warehouse. You've got to go save A. He'll find 1, looking for a second, gets shut down. The C flag will flip, but once again, all Alabama need is 1 single flag, and they win the game.
They do have that single flag of A. The flip did come through on the C, but like you said, Alabama, they only need that 1 flag. 140 to 158. You got to somehow work your way over towards the A flag, but at this point in time, with 15 seconds left, you see the extra spice going on into the bodies of the balls, and 160 to 144 now counting on up, not in the favor for University Tennessee Knoxville. This is where their playoff run will end, and Alabama are going to send them home in a 3-0 fashion.
It was tight, though.
It was.
Really solid series here. Again, this is a rematch from earlier, very earlier in the season. In Alabama, they won it the first time. They will win it a second time. But goodness gracious, this UTK, they put up one heck of a fight throughout these playoffs. You got to give them credit where credit is due. Again, they were able to take down RIT after falling to the losers bracket after they, I mean, again, Penn State White had their way with them, but they were able to take down a very solid team in Grand Canyon along the way, and then putting up a pretty solid fight here versus Alabama, even though Lorita's a 3-0. And on the opposite side, well, the tide, it is rolling as they're making this push through the losers bracket. That'll conclude their weekend, but coming up, they will have the loser of Georgia Southern and Louisiana Tech. Ooh, I think I know who they want to see. That will, again, be an opportunity for a rematch versus both of those squads. The last time they played either of them, it was in the middle of the season, and both games went to a map 4, but they convincingly, I would say, lost throughout both of those series. So Alabama move on. Taking a look really quickly to see what is going on with UT Dallas and Rutgers Scarlet. Well, I'll tell you, it's a 5-3 currently on the Bravo stream. You're going to want to go take that one out as, again, UT Dallas was up 3-0 at one point, and now all of a sudden, the Rutgers has the bomb down with numbers and are looking to make this a 5-4. So it'll be interesting. One of those two teams, again, will be eliminated. And meanwhile, Carleton and Oregon, that's the game we are waiting for to conclude before we figure out who plays Louisiana Lafayette to conclude the evening. Carleton was able to take a 250-181 versus Oregon in the first hardpoint as they're entering in to map number 2. Updates all over the place here in the losers bracket. These are our final 2 matches that are currently going on. As you see, Alabama will be confirmed in the bracket. So for now, we'll kind of relinquish ourselves, take a small break, maybe jump into the tail end of that Carleton and Oregon game if it allows us to, depending on where they are in the series. And I do encourage all of you guys to go check out our Bravo stream. Exclamation point Bravo will get you a link directly to it, or the exclamation point multi will allow you to have both streams up at the same time in case you fancy that in the future. But for now, we'll send things to a break. When we come back, we'll be jumping likely into the Carleton-Oregon game, or we'll be back for Louisiana Lafayette going up against the winner of the Carleton-Oregon game after this break.